Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Fingered Cat. I am here with another card making process video. This is one of my regular things that I do on my blog, which is every Friday I do a Christmas project. So it's called my Festive Friday. And I thought I'll stick the camera on in readiness for the joy that is Christmas in July. I'll start getting myself prepared to remember to put the video on when I'm doing Christmas cards. So yeah. Christmas in July, I do in July, I do a video every day. I did it last year for the first time. I'm going to do it again this year. I'm already nervous that I've bitten off more than I can chew because I am really, really busy. Life is busier this year than it was last year. So yeah, I'm a bit like, oh, why am I putting myself forward to do this? Anyway, the plan was to use this pattern paper that is actually from the summer collection from Kingston Crafts. And obviously it's not summer themed, it's just generic pattern. And I would use my wreath builder stencil because I've not used it for ages to make some wreaths. And the first one I'm totally messed up. Now my wreath builder stencil is not an official one, it's a knockoff one from eBay, and I need to go and get a proper one because clearly it's not working properly. It wriggles around all over the place, and I also didn't use very good washi tape for my little trying to stick my paper in place, so it comes up every time. It's an absolute nightmare, but never mind. So this takes a while. I decided I was going to use the foliage stamps that are in that Peace and Joy. It's an old Stampin' Up set that I absolutely love, mainly because of the words rather than necessarily the foliage, but you know, it's still cute and I really like it. I used a mixture of different inks. I started off with the Mossy Meadow from Stampin' Up, and then I switched over to Concord and 9th inks for most of it. And you'll see there, I started off with just the holly leaves, did the 4 holly leaves going round. On the original one, I was going to do all 8 points, but I ended up just doing 4 points. It wasn't quite right to look when I started doing the 8 point. It was going to go off the page, and I thought, no, I don't really want that to happen. So I started off with just the holly leaves. Then I added in the additional sprig, and at this point, I'm also adding in the little holly berries. So I love this idea of this template. As I say, I need to go and get an official one because this is just really flimsy and does not stay in place. Or even better, I need to upgrade myself to an Altenew stamp platform. I can't remember what they're called. Stamp wheels, I think they're called. Because then I won't need one. Oh, maybe that's what I do. Maybe that's my next big splurge. Anyway, for the moment, this will do. It absolutely works. It's just a bit fiddly and faffy. And so I'm just generally building up the wreath. And then you'll see I turn it so that it's always square on rather than diamond on, to just do the 4 points of the wreath rather than an 8 point wreath. And then I'm just fiddling around, and I do end up with the 2 backgrounds. So you can see they're going to look slightly different just because I haven't put the stamps in exactly the same place. I sort of did the first 4 and then moved the stamp, which was a bit daft, but there you go. I do get on one of them just a tiny bit where the thing shifts, so it doesn't do a perfect stamped image, but it's good enough. It's good enough. Handmade, not perfect. You know, that's the reality of it, isn't it? So I'm just adding in the final steps here because I clearly wasn't concentrating and turned the stencil the wrong way at some point, and so I don't end up with the right things stamped in the right places. And I realise that I'm missing a little bit here. So this is the final stages. I think everything's now stamped. So a few different colours of green ink. I used the wild berry for the berries, and then I decided that, yeah, I'm quite happy with those. Those are cute little wreaths, slightly different, but, you know, they're very similar. I ink up the edges of the panel because I knew I was going to do the same paper, because it's not, although it's classed as paper, it's a very thick paper, so it works as a cardstock. You can make a card blank out of it, so I knew I was going to put it on the same thing. And then I went into everything has to be foiled. Oh, ignore my little planning list that got on the screen there. That wasn't meant to be there. That was my June planning list. So yeah, I put my foil machine on, my glimmer on, to warm up. I sorted out a few scraps of cardstock, and now I'm just cutting some foil. and then I have a whale of a time doing some foiling. So when I'm putting my glimmer on, A, because I love it, I just want to foil everything, but B, it's a good idea to do multiples in one go, because then you've heated it up. You might as well just keep using it whilst it's already done that initial stage of warming. One little word of warning, I do at one point go to move one of the foil plates, I think it might be just after this bit, and I do burn my finger. So it's not left a mark or anything, but it was pretty hot. So please use caution. Do not do what I was doing, which is clearly fiddling with something when it's very hot. Don't do that. Don't touch hot metal. It's just stupid. So yeah, so there you go. That's my foiling, and I just love it. And this is, I think, that's when I touched it and went, ow. And that's because I was using scraps of cardstock here rather than actually a full piece that's going to cover both of those plates. Now, this is one of those sets that I bought from the Spellbinders sale in April, end of April, I think. And this was my first use of it. And I'm loving it. It comes with 2 of the plates, and then it comes with a die that cuts all of it out. But the thing is, I'm not using the entire plate in some cases to do the foiling. So there are some bits where it's like, it's not going to cut the entire thing. And you will see, I have sped this up really, really fast because I was at this for a little while because just love it. Just love it. And I made loads, and what I'll do is I will, they're actually just still sitting in a little puddle on my desk. I will go and sort them out and then put them in a pouch so that they're ready to go for future projects. And that's pretty much how I do these sorts of things. I do a similar thing with stamping and die cutting sentiments. Is if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do a lot in one go, and then just stick them in a pouch, and I'll just then grab and go when I need to do that. So as you can see there, I've got a whole puddle of sentiments. I then die cut some of the other scraps of the black that was left over just for some plain ones, including the one that I didn't foil very well. There was one where it was the green foiling. I don't know what was going through my head. I obviously wasn't concentrating, but I put it through the die cutting machine, and then because I've had years of having to reverse the die cutting plates backwards and forwards in my big shot to get them to cut, totally forgot what I was doing, and I reversed the glimmer and it jumped, and so it did a double imprint of the foiling. So again, learn from me, that's not what works. And now I'm just fiddling, trying to work out what I want to do. I really like the 3 sentiments going down a page, so I might think about that for a future card, but on this it just felt too big, so I don't end up doing that. I then think I really wanted to use those green sentiments, but they weren't standing out enough, so I thought, well, if I ink the edges that might work, but I do a bit of a messy job. But I fix it. So the fact that I foiled extras and the fact that I used them as stacking on the green, don't worry about it, it's absolutely fine. First of all, I'm unlikely to use the first one, which was about, I can't even remember what it is. But anyway, it was a sentiment I was unlikely to use. And then because I'd sort of messed up the first one that said Merry Christmas with the inking, with the ink pad, I thought, right, okay, I'm just going to go for comfort and joy for both of them and use my Stampin' blends. I actually ended up using the light Mossy Meadow. I did do another one first, but it didn't show up enough just to do that edging, to just give it that little bit more definition against the background. Right, now we're on to making the actual card blanks. So I had fortunately got 2 sheets of this when I started. I thought I'd got more, but it turns out I've used quite a bit of this one. So I am gradually working my way through my stash of pattern paper. She says there's still loads of it, obviously. But yeah, I made card blanks that were 4.5 by 4.5, and you might think that's a very weird size, but it's what I wanted to make. I will, for these, have to make an envelope. I don't do this on screen, and I haven't done it yet. I will do it nearer the time. I'll make an envelope that fits, probably from a pattern paper of some description that I'm not that fussed about. But it works to go for going through the post. Or maybe I'll find some 4.5 by 4.5 size envelopes, maybe 5 by 5s or something like that. But anyway, I stuck down my panel directly on, so you'll see Kingston Crafts papers are great because they have the same pattern on both sides, but one is like a bigger size of the pattern than the other one. And so you get two patterns in one, but it's not, it's actually the same pattern, same colourway and everything. So it's really good for doing that like slightly different, but still very much in keeping. It's also good if you're doing scrapbooking. Sometimes you want the bigger print and sometimes you want the smaller print if you're doing card making, etc. So I went through my little ribbons stash that was to the side, and I chose this brown wax thread for the one that's slightly more, well, it's sort of like more earthy looking. And then for the one with the black sentiment, I went for the red and white baker's twine, and added that in place. Final touches, just some gems. So some gold Spellbinders gems just for the earthy, more natural looking one. And for the other one, I ended up putting quite a few of those black gems on. I was doing it with my fingers, but I was getting a right old mess. So I then went back to my poker tool, which is what I normally use. Don't know why I decided I was going to try it with my fingers, because I know it doesn't work. They're just too tiny and they stick to my big podgy fingers. So why do I do that? And then all I need to do is do a little panel for the inside. So I actually chose some scrap cardstock that's been sitting on my desk since the beginning of March, maybe even February, can't remember, a while ago anyway. And it's just plain cardstock on the other side, and I'm unlikely to use the pattern, so I just thought I'm just going to get it used. So I cut some 4-inch squares and then inked up the edge just to give it some definition. Job's a good one. So they look really bright and zingy in this picture because the sun decided to go whoosh straight onto it. But to be honest, they are bright and zingy and I really love them. I think they're fun. I know it's a bright colour and you would probably do a more muted normally for Christmas, but it's still traditional colours of green. And then I've added in the red, obviously, for the berries and for the twine on that first one. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please do give me a thumbs up. Please do subscribe, especially if you enjoy Christmas card making. Obviously, July, it's going to be crazy. Loads of stuff coming up. But until next time, bye-bye.